This video is all about OM Systems' upcoming Micro Four Thirds camera, the OM-5. We have the price that's been sent to retailers, specifications, as well as the announcement and shipping dates. But is this camera right for you? Details coming up, but first, I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. Thanks to Four Thirds Rumors, we know the price sent to retailers for the OM-5, and it's going to be $15.99. Well, that's not 100%. You see, Four Thirds Rumors also goes on to say that despite the planned announcement for the end of October, that the price sent to retailers has yet to be finalized. With the camera due to be announced at the end of October, I'm surprised that that price hasn't been finalized yet, and I think this could be a good thing because based on the leaked specifications I'm seeing for the OM-5, well, it don't excite me much, especially when we look at the EM5 Mark III, which we will shortly. That's the predecessor. The OM-5 is supposed to have a 20 megapixel sensor. It's Micro Four Thirds. There's no mention whether it's going to be BSI or stacked. Continuous shooting, 15 frames per second, 3.6 million .EVF, and a single card slot. $1,600 and we get just a single card slot? Yeah, I don't feel very good about that price point only offering a single card slot, and that's really where it ends for specifications. We don't have any video specifications mentioned, and I don't think this camera is going to be sans video. The one last tidbit I have for you, the announcement is at the end of October and they'll start shipping in November. But to really get an idea of this camera and if this price is, well, a good price or not, we just have to take a look at the EM5 Mark III. The EM5 Mark III at $999, 62% less than the OM5 Mark III, also has a 20 megapixel CMOS sensor. It's Micro Four Thirds, and again, it's not backside illuminated or stacked. Continuous shooting is 10 frames per second, so 5 frames per second less than the OM5, and it has an ISO range of between 200 and 25,600. You can see that the EVF here is only 2.36 million dots, although it is an OLED, and of course it has a variable angle touchscreen that is 3 inches. It has IBIS, it's weather sealed, which is a really nice advantage, but again, it's only $999, but it comes with DCI and UHD 4K. DCI 4K is limited to 24-25 frames per second, whereas UHD 4K goes all the way up to 30 frames per second. So when we look at the specs side by side for the OM-5 versus the EM5 Mark III, the predecessor, there are certainly some benefits, an extra 5 frames per second, but for $1,600? Well, the Canon EOS R10, a camera that's an APS-C censored camera, priced around $1,000, well, it also has a continuous shooting rate of 15 frames per second, but that's mechanical. Electronic, it goes all the way up to 23 frames per second. So the question I might be wondering here is, what is the buffer like? Because we know that the R10 pretty much after a second is full and takes some time to clear. So what's the buffer like? And that's the problem with these leaked specifications. As they stand the way they are, a 20 megapixel sensor, no real improvements over the EM5 Mark III, continuous shooting a little bit faster, but slow compared to what we see out today at cameras that cost 62% less. It's not looking very exciting, and it has a single card slot, and there's no mention of what video modes it can do. 20 megapixels should allow 6K oversampled 4K. I would expect at $1,600, it should be able to do that and do it very well. I'd expect log footage. I'd expect improved dynamic range, better low light performance. $1,600. The way things look right now, I'm not at all excited about the OM-5 like I was about the OM-1. The OM-1 was a go anywhere, any climate camera aimed at photographers that wanted to get the best shot regardless of their environment. The OM-5, I would expect it to have similar environmental capabilities, but we don't have that information here. We don't have the video capabilities, and the stills capabilities leave much to be desired. What is the ISO response? What about dynamic range? How much improvement is there in low light conditions over the the EM5? And we can look to the OM-1 and compare that camera, but it's costing about $700 more. I'm not going to compare this to the OM-1. We can look at the sensor technology and get an idea of what could potentially be in this camera. And at $1,600, I wouldn't be surprised if they take the same image processor and maybe even the same sensor, but they can dial down the capabilities in software, in firmware. I don't know. At this point, I'm not excited, but we're about 30 days away from getting an announcement of the OM-5. I can't believe that OM Systems, previously known as Olympus or JIP, would come out with this camera, the OM-5, a much anticipated successor to the EM5 Mark III, after releasing the OM-1, jacking up the price and not giving us an awful lot to chew on. We're just going to have to wait and see. And if you want to stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors, especially the upcoming OM-5, or maybe it's the Sony a7R5, the Canon EOS R1, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you choose all notifications, because when you choose all notifications, as soon as I publish a new video like this one here, you get notified by YouTube. So that way you can stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors without following a whole bunch of RSS feeds, Twitter feeds, YouTube channels, and websites. I do all that for you so you can sit back and capture all the latest camera news and rumors. But that's it for today. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll see you again soon.